Okay, so by looking at the leaf, I'm going to get the colors that I actually need. This is the paper that I'm actually using. Let me just show it to you so you guys have an idea of what type of paper you can actually use when you're painting. This is the paper that we're using, Aquarello watercolor from Fabriano. And I'm also going to get a couple of colors that I don't have here. I'm going to use Sennelier, and I'm going to basically just put it down so you guys can see the colors that we're going to use. And that is a little bit of black. Okay. Alright, where is this? Alright, so I'm going to get my palette, and here are the colors that we're going to use for this exercise, which is, this is from Holbein. This is Antique Brown, okay? 0009. It's gonna get it here. I'm gonna use Burnt Sienna 211 Sennelier. So very deep ricotta, beautiful color. Next to each other, they basically look the same, just that Sennelier is a little bit more darker. Make sure that I close these tubes. I've been having these for like forever. I'm going to use Burnt Amber from Holbein. This Burnt Amber is very dark and it's very rich as well. You can use this for the vein. And I'm going to use a pinch of Sennelier Yellow Light. Okay, just a pinch. And what I mean a pinch is because it's actually very strong. We're gonna open it. I'm going to show you, where's the camera, how strong this is. Okay. I'm gonna put it a little bit further away from the rest because we don't want to have to fight this. And I'm going to use Ivory Black from Holbein. I think it has the number somewhere. Okay, this is Holbein. Okay, these colors I've been having for more than 10 years. They're very, very strong, very potent. And I use a variety of colors. You not necessarily have to use the same. So, as an artist, we're always learning. I don't know everything. I also take my courses and I also watch other people online. I'm always learning from other people. And I will suggest you that you do the same. Okay, so as artists, we're always constantly creating and also learning. I think everything that we do comes with a learning purpose in mind. I think for myself, that's how it is. So I'm going to actually recommend you a couple stuff that I've been doing for the past couple of months. And it actually helps you with if you have any blocks or if you have any, I don't know, whatever, you know, sometimes we get stuck, we don't know what to do. For certain whatever reasons. So I'm going to show you certain things that I've been doing. Just want to grab a piece of watercolor paper from here. Okay. Just want to grab a scrap of watercolor paper and people that I've been actually watching. So I'm actually watching a bunch of people. I don't have all of the names with me, but I've been watching all kinds of people that do manga. I've been watching a lot of digital art. I've been watching people creating watercolors of different sorts. I've been taking courses from a place which is called Domestica. They're mostly in Spanish, but I've been taking those. I've been watching people paint. I've been, I don't know, supporting other artists. I've just been doing everything. And I do all of this in order for me to keep myself going. You know, with everything that is going on, I feel like we all, I guess we need a little bit of sprout, you know, to continue doing. If I need more color, I'm going to add it to my palette. I usually keep a piece of paper. Okay, so you can keep a little scrap of paper. And what I do is that I'm going to get a small brush, any kind of brush. And we're going to do basically the palette for what we're creating, okay? So I already kind of, just by seeing the leaf, I know exactly the colors that I'm going to need. But if you were to like practicing and you were like new to watercolor and you don't know, this is the best way to actually practice your colors, okay? So I'm going to come here, like I said, and this leaf has different ways of kind of just bringing up the colors, but it changes on this side to a more darker chocolatey type of color, and it has some orange in there. Everything that you can think of. There's green, there's orange, all that stuff I can see on just one leaf. So I'm immediately, I see some green, I'm going to get out from my, yeah, actually I missed that green, from my palette, excuse me. And not necessarily have to be green from a specific brand. You can get green from any brand. I actually use Artisa. Where is Artisa? Artisa. And it's actually a very cool company. It's a very good watercolors as well, just in case, and just you don't, you know, you can't afford for whatever reason the colors that I'm actually showing you. These are Artisa, and this is Holbein permanent green. There is a Viridian hue and Peruvian blue right here. I'm going to use permanent green, which is a little bit more lighter than the others. Okay, that's the color, or that's the color. Where's the camera? Right there, that's the color. We're gonna leave it here, okay? And we're going to do basically the test to see how these colors actually look onto the paper, and we're going to compare with the colors that the leaf has. I'm sorry, I'm Spanish, sometimes I get stuck. Okay, so immediately what I see, okay, I see some yellow, so I'm going to pick up my leaf. I'm just gonna put some yellow here, okay? And then I also see some burnt amber, which we actually took out from Holbein, and some burnt sienna. And I'm going to put it here, okay? And I see some bit more darker, so I'm going to use my Sennelier. I'm going to add it here, okay? I see some green, so I'm just gonna put it right next to it. Okay, and remember that I said that I always like to use my black. Where are you? Black color. You can do some purple if you don't have like a dark, you're afraid of that black color. I'm using Holbein. This is antique black. I'm going to put it right all the way to the across from it, because what we're going to do is that we're going to layer that black on top of the other colors. So I'm going to get my black, just going to put it right next to them. We're going to add my black color, see how it looks, and then if you have all of this, right, but you're like, you're still not certain. Like if the leaf does have it, you can do even better. You can just get your color, take a piece of the paper, see how it looks when you're layering. Okay, does it look like the leaf? And okay. All right, so these are all the colors that we actually took from here, all on a wash right there. Okay, so that's basically how I test out things that are going to look like what I'm actually painting. Okay, we're going to, and before you like hands-on job, it's better that you do this because now you have your palette that you're going to be working with for what you're doing, and it makes it easier, and it also makes it faster for us. You know, everything is to help us, okay, not to waste our time. So everything to help you. So I'm going to squish over this. I'm gonna leave my leaf right next to me, and then I'm going to try to do both sides differently, so like that you see a difference between dry into wet, wet into wet. I like to help out with everything I can to show you guys how to do certain things. So this side, we're gonna do wet into wet, okay? Graduated and all kinds of cool stuff. And we're going to do layer, okay? This is layering. Okay, so we're first gonna do our yellow. Remember, be careful with the pockets, with the little bubbles. And do our yellow. Okay, see how it looks. And don't worry about the vein until you're like done. And then I'm going to add my umbers or my umbers. And that's wet into wet. Okay, and if you want to spread it, you can. Okay, so the first color in there was the yellow, right? And you can see how it behaved with the yellow. Now we can go to the next side and you kind of just see how things behave with each other. We're going to do dry into wet. And I'm going to create some green and yellow. The paper is wet, dry. I'm just gonna go. Okay. And we're going to let it dry a little bit. Okay. We're just gonna do a little bit more of a direct way, which is all the colors mixed in together. And we're gonna, very wet, we're just gonna spread it all over. And we're gonna do our layering. So there's different ways of actually doing a watercolor. And you're seeing it right now. You see how I'm dragging with my brush that water? Okay, and do the same thing here. You notice how I'm basically just, all of the colors are in there. And remember that we're using hot press paper, so it's not gonna have the same finish as a cold press. This is actually cold press paper. So you see the difference. Cold press paper. Okay, and then hot press paper. I'm going to change my brush because I want something a little bit bigger that I can accomplish the job faster. I'm gonna get my tulip here. And I like this paint brush because it has like a tip, as you can see. That tip helps me to create those little details. Okay, I'm going to, since this one is dry, we're going to add a bit more brown. And we kind of just see the contrast with each other and how the layers kind of look when they're together, when color overlapping each other. And we already know that this one is with yellow and this one is with green, so you guys can see a difference there. Okay, and if you had like something like this and you want to also try it, you can definitely do your own test by applying the yellow and then kind of like how it behaves with the different colors. And here is my test right there too. Okay, so always keep a piece of paper next to you, so you have also, when next time you do like flowers or you do leaves or you do whatever it is that you want to do, you have already the idea right next to it. Okay, so the last time I actually did a leaf, I remember the colors that I took out, which is the ambers and the yellows and the greens. So you're already in your mind, in your brain, you're set up to, you have the palette for that type of subject, which is the leaf in this case. And that's all, like, it just stays in your brain. It's almost like if you were driving, you're learning how to drive. It's basically the same thing. These things you don't forget. And if you want a little bit more practice, you can definitely do it on your own, taking a color wheel, which is the easiest way. These are the colors right here. So you can take a good look at what I'm doing. We're going to, not too much because I really still want you guys to see everything that I do. Okay. These are the colors, so you guys see. Okay. And here are the colors on my butcher's palette. Here are the colors, how they kind of just intertwine with each other. So you can do both ways. You can actually try them here, you can do it on the paper, or you can just, once you have an idea what colors the flower or the leaf gets, you can just do by memory. The most important part here is to actually have fun. All right. So we're going to do certain layers on different sides, a little bit more darker than the others. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to later on do the veins, because it takes a little bit more time. And that's why we need the black color for. Just gonna, you hold it, do whatever it is to capture the essence of what you're creating. And then I'm actually skipping along the inside of the vein because I'm going to darken it later on. So I'm skipping some of the veins, and some of the veins I'm actually, which is like the middle side, because I think this one is a little bit more complicated. Right in the middle. If I add too much layers, I don't want it to look too dark either. So I want it to look, so the main veins I'm actually skipping. And if this is difficult for you, because I know this is not easy for everybody, but if it's difficult for you, you can always mask the vein, like the main veins. You can actually use masking fluid for them. You don't want to complicate your life. Don't do things that, like, don't get frustrated when you're painting. I feel like being frustrated and painting, just not a good combination. You should be, painting is to relax you, to make you feel better, to make you feel enlightened, and I don't know, it's just a very soothing way of creating. So if you think that is going to be too difficult to skip the main vein, just masking fluid be your best friend, okay? Remember that you can always use gouache, you can use other materials to complete it. You know, a long time ago, someone asked me, like, how many layers do you actually paint in watercolor in order for you to create something or whatever? And I actually said, well, between 3 and 4. And it depends. Maybe with just 2 layers of watercolor, the leaf will be completed. So it depends on what you're creating. But you shouldn't add too many layers, because what happens is that the more layers you add, you have to add more shadow, and the more shadow you add, you have to add more shadow. So you will be always fighting until you don't even know when you can finish. Everything kind of just in order. And just in case, again, this is what I'm doing. So all of those colors are helping me creating that leaf, creating a nice wash right there. Very autumny, right? That's my autumn leaf right there, color, okay? So I'm basically just, all the palette is in there, using all the colors at the same time. Or you can just layer, no problem. Again, skipping the main vein. Hi, hon. I actually did some steak and hash browns. I really don't know if you guys saw the last, the other broadcast, but we're gonna do basically the same thing to finish the leaf. Let's say you did something, like you did a boo-boo or something, and you're like, oh my god, I just went. Just go with your brush and lift up. All right, that's not gonna kill you. Keep it moving. I do apologize in advance for the noise in my house. But yeah, these are live, so sometimes I cannot skip live. Okay. Okay. Then now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna start adding shadows of what we can actually grasp here as shadows. We know that I'm actually underneath a light, so I won't be able to grab too many shadows, but I can still work with the natural form, and that's gonna help me. So for the shadows, I'm going to add my black. My black is going to be there. Wherever I feel that I can add a little bit of shadow here. And that's what we're gonna do. My shadow color is the same watercolors that I actually introduced before, but now with a hint of that black. Okay, I'm also gonna do it here. I'm not everywhere, but some of the add that black here because I think, and of course this is a leaf, so it has some grains, and you can do all kinds of stuff here. You can do some texture with salt if you like. Adding a little bit more green. Okay. Then I want to add just a tiny bit of shadow over here, and then I think. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And right on the middle over here. I'm gonna actually just play a little bit with both sides. So. Adding that yellow, I'm going to do it here too. Okay, so we're going to let this dry and then we're going to start working with the main vein. Now, if right now it's looking pretty good, what we need to actually add is the details, and I like to kind of just line up some of the details here and there, which are the veins, and you can add all kinds of stuff. So watercolors for many years we tend to use as a shadow color for every single thing. Our friend is ultramarine blue. Now, you don't have to, like I said, just using the black color and the dark umber, you can add a shadow, but ultramarine, if it can be mixed in there and it gives you a better natural shadow, you can do that. You can do a little bit of purple if you like, just a hint of it, not too much. And I'm using also some tiny bit of red. So, because I like colorful, I want to have like a happy leaf. So all those colors are going to be into this leaf. And all those colors I actually see when I'm looking at my painting, on my subject. So I have ultramarine here. And I have... My God, I'm losing mine. Is this Style Bloom? Yes, it's Style Bloom, but this is Style Bloom. This is ultramarine. Just a little darker. Okay? Then I'm going to add where you went. Little tiny bit of this very, very strong color, which is an orange. Okay? This is the other color. Oops, you can see it, but it's vermilion hue. It's very orangey. We're going to open it, and before I do it on top of my artwork, we're going to get our little tester here. I'll put it right there. I'm gonna put my blue, and I'm gonna leave it here. Going to put my other blue, which is Talo. Okay, right next to each other. Some brands different, some brands the same, what I was gonna say, same color might be a little lighter, a little less pigmented, so that's what we're basically doing. Why this thing doesn't want to close? I have to keep an eye on my tubes. Okay, and then my very strong vermilion hue from Holbein. I'm gonna give it a twist to the cap, and I'm going to show you guys how strong is this color. And it's just a little tiny bit, just to give us a little bit of a more happy leaf, happy autumn leaf. And before I'm putting it on top of my painting, I'm gonna grab a brush. We're going to take our subject here and I'm going to also mix this with my yellow. Okay, so my yellow is going to be there. I'm going to see how it looks. Okay, that yellow in there. Right, and then I'm going to see also how my blues look next to each other. If I were to put my blue right next to as a shadow, how it will look. Okay, if it actually helps, or is it going to damage my painting? Okay, I'm testing out my shadow color. If I add it with the black, what kind of shadow am I actually going to do right next to each other? So I'm doing my test for everything that I'm actually creating. Now, because of course I'm gonna add all these colors, how they will look with each other, like type of shadow as well I'm going to create once is incorporated in there. And that's the shadow right there. So this is the blue shadow right next to that vermilion hue and that yellow color. Okay, that's the yellow color right there. Okay, we look at our leaf and you can see it, but I can see that it has those colors in there in my leaf, and it has them around here, over here, and I think I have some amber, some yellowish. So we're going to do another layer of these colors into my leaf. Just make it a very happy leaf, right? So my third layer is gonna have that orangey feeling to it. Just gonna get my colors, add that yellow. Just gonna layer on top of. Okay. And since it's our leaf too, I mean, you know, we can do like botanical or illustrations or whatever, but we're also creating our own painting. I'm not really gonna do this as an illustration for a scientific book. I'm just creating for myself, so I'm just gonna create. I actually took a course in what's it called? Domestica. This girl, she's amazing. I forgot her name, but she's in Instagram, and her Instagram is Canela, and she does a lot of illustrations for companies, and she does like calendars, and she sells her designs. And I was watching her recently. I learned a whole lot, and you know, by creating and like doing these exercises and looking, I feel like, you know, I had so much to improve too when I do my broadcast and when I'm creating with you guys, when I'm sharing you guys some information. I was like, okay, you know what, sometimes even though I'm experiencing doing this, sometimes I don't give all the info, or I skip this one or stuff like that. Okay, I'm just gonna, all right, and we're gonna add it too. Okay, so my leaf is looking a little bit more happy. Okay, more orangey. Okay, then my boring brown that I had before, just gonna add a little bit more right on the middle, not too much, because we still have to create the vein. Okay, so we gave about 4 layers to the outside of the leaf. That's something that I actually was like really struggling with, like when it comes to leaves. Like, okay, I was doing like the outside of the leaf, and then I just create the center of it, like the main vein, and I just add like 2 layers, and it looked like something was missing on my leaves, specifically with the leaves that I love to create. When I create like between greens and yellows, I was like, something is missing. And what's missing is that if you're adding 4 layers onto your outside or the outer outside of the leaf, you don't want to also skip the main vein and just do 1 layer. It's just not gonna look good. It's gonna look incomplete. Okay, so we're just gonna wait until it dries a little, and then I'm going to move the leaf over here. I don't want to break it, but I'm going to put right next to what we're creating the colors that I'm actually using. Okay, because something that I actually also missed when I was starting off, I always thought that you only need 3 colors, and if you really want to create, you might need more than 3. So here is all the colors that we use for 1 leaf. Okay, this also trains you to become more acquainted with color. Okay, so there's all the colors: yellow, vermilion, brown, antique brown. This is basically the same as this one, but Sennelier is a little bit more darker. Then you have burnt amber, which is that really chocolatey kind of brownish. You have phthalo blue, and then ultramarine blue. And yes, they're not the same, and I'm going to show you also on my palette. And then you have black, ivory black, and phthalo blue, or in Sennelier is called yeah, it's phthalo blue. Anyways, and ultramarine deep on Holbein. So these are the 2 blues next to each other, so you guys know the difference. Just gonna add it here. This is Sennelier, okay, and this is phthalo. Okay, phthalo next to the other one. So this one is a little bit more purple than the other one. Okay, there's another one here, which is phthalo as well. But it's good that you know the difference. There's many blues out there, and that's the difference. Some are more light blue, some are more dark blue. So phthalo and ultramarine are not the same color. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. And then now we're going to do, if I'm allowed to, because it's still wet on this side, we're going to do the main vein. For that, we're going to change. We're going to use a smaller brush, or you can use this, I call them long liners. Is a rigger, I don't know. This is a rigger. It's like a tongue. That's what I'm going to use for the middle of the flower. And then again, middle of the flower is gonna have different colors in here. I'm just gonna be layering until I get the color that I want. What happened? Okay. And another thing is that I'm actually using not the outside, backwards. Okay, so there is a difference in colors as well. Just kind of. Okay, and I'm going to go to his friend's house. Okay, And then remember, to the vein, we're going to add a little bit more of color until we get, like, the vein can actually pop out of the painting. All right.
Can I see you dance 1 second
Mm-hmm. That's okay. Jeremiah, you cannot miss your screening yesterday, tomorrow. Don't miss it.
They're like, I think they should call me when they come.
They're gonna call me because I don't have your number.
Oh, you should have given them number then. I'll just keep a lookout.
Okay. So make sure that this is dry. I don't want to mess and really. So remember that this is like the first layer. And then you have to add the same amount of layers to your veins that you're adding on to. Okay. Okay. And then that's our first layer. Just erase this. Right. Gonna change from that one to a little bit more of a detail brush, and we're going to start basically just using, actually I need 2 of these. So you probably saw me doing this on my first, on the other watercolor sketch that I was doing. So we're gonna do basically the same thing, kind of just to finish that leaf. So I need 2. I'm going to start from where it's actually dry, and then I'm gonna move up. Okay, and then I'm gonna come here with my gonna map it out again. I think that this is like the difficultest part, and this is where a lot of people they get tired because these are lengthy, but it's all worth it. Promise. Okay, so our natural leaf is actually very well contoured, and all the lines, the ends are actually just completely covered now, and you can see that the drawing is actually more completed. Okay, so we're gonna now do what is called lifting, and I'm going to do it like in places that I feel that it's gonna give that texture that the back of the leaf does have. But we're going to do it with a very softer, let me set that brush somewhere. This one is soft, so I'm just gonna grab our brush here, square, and I'm going to kind of just lift little, do some veins, etc. Stuff that it might be interesting for the person that is watching or viewing the work. Just gonna lift up here. Okay. And when you're lifting paint from your leaf, whatever it is that you're doing, you're not pressing down, you are lifting. So if we were to get our piece of paper here, and I will want to lift some of the paint, I'm gonna go and lift. Okay, very delicate. I'm not lifting furiously, I'm not pressing down, just lifting. Okay, again, I'm gonna do a little bigger. These are just okay. Do it on here. Lifting. So that's what we're gonna do now. In some parts that I feel, okay, this is way too, I don't know. Then I will, instead of lifting, I will just, all textures go to this leaf right here. All kinds of textures. It's actually pretty cool. And this is gonna create that lumpy texture. Okay. Oops. Then we're gonna lift over here. When you lift, you want to do it so delicately because otherwise you're also damaging, can pull out part of the pigments that you have already done there, and you really don't want to very dry brush over here. Some places I want to lift because I'm going to create a little bit of shadow underneath, so it's going to be cool once it's done to see some of the shadow underneath looked more real. So I'm actually doing lifting both ways, like very dry and very soft. So
We don't have a pump for the ball.
no, I do, but I don't know where it is now. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just fix here and there, whatever I can, that I feel that I kind of just. Okay. All right, now we're going to add a little bit more to that vein. Remember what I said, that if the outside has a bunch of layers, you want to also add about the same layers onto the middle. Here's my vein right there. It's like a very dark umber with a hint of blue. This is my second layer. If my second layer at the moment does the trick here, then I'll be happy, but I really want that vein to pop out, so we're gonna do some
What do you mean about these?
oh, in the corner.
The ball is deflating.
Throw it away. Okay, that's my main vein. I'm gonna do the veins that I feel like. Okay. I create these two. I'm gonna add some blue because there's some veins that are a little lighter than the others. So that's what we're gonna do. They're also smaller. And then we're going to get a little bit more of that color. And not everywhere, but some of it. We're just gonna help it a little bit. With the veins, with whatever we left off. Just gonna... Gonna add a little bit more water here. I don't want to do them too. Give it a nice shadow there. Okay. Do the same thing here. Thank you. Okay. Those are the characteristics of autumn colors right there. Love it, love it, love it. Guess welcoming winter, letting go of autumn. And my heart feels joy. Just gonna. Okay. So everything that you see me doing here is basically just adding shadow on top of shadow. I just lift it and added shadow to certain places, not everywhere, but certain places. I added some shadow. And have to actually, this one is wrong, so I'm just gonna correct it. It's supposed to end here. Just gonna make it look. There's a vein there. So I think on our main vein right here, we have about 4 layers already. And I'm adding my black color to the main vein right there, just to kind of just make sure, I don't know, so it can look. It's the main vein right there. Just adding a little bit of that black color. And then we're gonna do some lifting, just to make sure, kind of just mimics the back of the so for the lifting I need, maybe I can lift with this one, I hope, just a bit, not everywhere, some of it. Just gonna lift here, or as much as I can, not too much, right on the middle. Okay, gonna lift here too. And then I'm also, I actually did another mistake right here. It actually goes a little, just a little thinner. So I'm just gonna thin this out a little bit. Once it's passing to a certain point, it's actually thinner. Okay, and then right here, we're going to play a little bit. I'm gonna lift that up. Kind of just gives you the feeling of old, moldy wood. And then now, since I'm actually using a natural object, we're gonna add a bit of shadow. So if I were to have my leaf right here, I can add a bit of shadow underneath. Just make sure that, oh, this is not it. My shadow with my brush, where are you? Can I use this one? Yeah, I can use that. So for the shadow, I'm gonna use some blue. I don't know, like the darker colors. Just do a very natural shadow, not too much. Just gonna add it right on the corner here. And maybe disappears there. Okay. Gonna do and then again disappears there. And this is Peruvian blue, a hint of tallow and a hint of that burnt umber, just a little tiny bit. And I think I have a little bit of that black color, just a little tiny bit. Okay. Gonna get shadow also has part of whatever underneath, like for example this is like a brownish color, so that shadow is gonna have also part of it. So we're just gonna, so basically shadow reflects the opposite or the light upper. That's what we're gonna do. And you notice that I'm not really like touching with the watercolor. And not everywhere I'm actually adding shadow, so. And then some of it is just pretend shadow, but I really don't, it's not there, but I'm just adding it up. Gonna add a little bit of that, just a little tiny bit more over here. And also underneath here. And a little bit more darker shadow. We're gonna do the same thing here. Darker. Do the same over here. Okay. Gonna add a little bit of that dark color. Some black. Some amber. Darwin.
She's got like the width of the door, wasn't it? Yep. So you could Jean. Yesterday I woke up like 2 hours ago. Hello.
Hey, what's up? So that's actually the black coloring action. And then I actually don't have much shadow here. Just literally just inventing stuff. Okay, alrighty. Think that we're gonna leave it like this. I'm just gonna add a little bit of I don't know, like those little grains that I love when other people do it, but when I do it they look lame, but I'm gonna do them anyways because I wanted to show it. I don't know, like I feel inspired today. So we're gonna do the little dots on the flower. Even though we know exactly maples do have it, oaks don't, not really. So I'm gonna get I was gonna get a stiffer brush, but I can do it with one of these tiny ones. This tiny one, just gonna get a and don't worry, I'm not gonna overdo it. Just want a little bit of green, just a little bit. Over here. Some of that white stuff. And then right now it's looking all the same color. So I'm just gonna add a little tiny bit right where I put the shadow in. So right over here. A little bit more of that chocolate, whoops. A little bit of a shadow there. It's difficult because I really don't have shadowing there, but we're making it work. And so I'm just gonna add a little bit of dark color, just a natural wash, just to soften out some of it. Not everywhere, but some of it. Just gonna really go out on me. Okay, we are done, people. Thank you. We're gonna come back. Not sure if I have the energy as of yet, but we're gonna come back and do another one. I hope that you guys have enjoyed some of the broadcast that we have done. Hope that you guys also learned something. Here is the other right next to each other. Creating a painting out of a natural or botanical subject. Thank you so much. When you replay this stuff, make sure that you share. I'm all over the place. My name is Mary. Yes. And I work in water media. I also work in acrylics and also oils. But my beloved, I cannot let go of my beloved watercolors. So here we are. Thank you so much again. Have a good night. I'll come back later on and we paint something else. See ya.